Hello everyone, it's me, Demetra Kaye of the Demetra Kaye Show here on YouTube and a proud contributor of the African Diaspora News channel. If you could please do me a favor and subscribe to all channels and like this video, I will greatly appreciate it. So you guys know that the midterms are right around the corner and you're going to start to see a lot of foolishness from the Democratic Party in trying to get you to the polls. Well, a guy who is a Democrat wrote an op-ed for the Griot. His name is Antoine Seawright, and he said, "Black men, do not allow the Republicans to use you." And he said in the article that it is known that the black man is the most important voter in this election. But y'all remember when they were saying that the black woman was the backbone of the Democratic Party, and it's because of the black woman that the Democrats are where they are. But now all of a sudden, as I always say, they're hitting black men with the, "Hey, big head, how you doing?" Because now they realize you were always just as important, but they have turned their backs on you. And so it's, come back to bite them. And now they're like, "We need you." But anyway, let me go on with all this foolishness that he said in this article. And I kind of want to take a minute to break it down. So he started off with this. That's why you see so many GOP operatives targeting talking points and tactics to appeal to black men. But while they seek to bojangle us with whitewashes, targeted information, and outright lies, we can see the truth if we look. We can see that they don't have our best interests at heart. And quite frankly, they would use us as simple tools in their ruthless pursuit of power. And it's like, are you sure you're not talking about the Democrats and you use the word bojangle? Come on now, let's not lie to kick it. We know who is the master at bojangling. That is the Democratic Party. What have they brought you? They have brought you no voting, no vucking. They have brought you twerking. They have brought strippers to the polls. And they have brought you fish fries and everything else you can think of that is ridiculous and is low-hanging fruit to get black people to the polls. And so I'm sorry, Mr. Seawright. That's not the GOP that's doing that. That's the Democrats that are doing the bojangling. Now, I'm not saying that the Republicans do not engage in foolishness, but not to that degree. So let's just keep it real. All right, moving right along. He says some more nonsensical stuff, and I'm going to break it down. He says, that's why when you see them in the barber shop claiming the Democrats ain't done nothing for me, we have to respond with direct facts of the $1.9 trillion from the American Rescue Plan, the expanded child care credit, which briefly cut child poverty in half. Okay, let's stop right there. The child tax credit that was given, as he said, briefly, but see, he know most of us ain't gonna read that and stop right there on the word briefly. Briefly means only for a moment, right? So that wasn't anything lasting. And I think we could kind of go without even digging deep to know that most black men did not benefit from that child tax credit. It was black women, because typically, I'm not saying always, black women have the children. And we know that black women are single to the tune of 70%-ish or so. So what does that tell you? That tells you that the black man really didn't benefit from that child tax credit. Okay, so stop lying, Mr. Seawright. Moving right along. The lowest unemployment rate in 50 years, with employment growth for black men outpacing both our white and Asian counterparts. It's like, all right, again, he know most people ain't gonna break it down. Who is the wealthiest Americans in this country? It's the Asians, yes. And then who is right next to them? It's white people. So it's probably Asian men and white men that are the wealthiest in America. So he's trying to say that, oh, the unemployment rate is down, but it's like black men are still amongst the most unemployed in this country. And we also know that it's going to take about 232 years, probably more now, for black people to catch up to the wealth of white people, because that wealth gap is so huge due to what we have been gone through as black people in this country, as far as being robbed of the money that is due our ancestors via slavery, right? And a whole host of other things. We can go on forever. And so he, Mr. Seawright, is being disingenuous, and he got the nerve to talk about Republicans. Don't let the Republicans use you, black man. But here he is lying. And as I like to say, there's bending the truth. He's bending the truth. All right, so let's see what else he said that was just quite foolish. He also went on to say, when they pipe up at the spades table arguing ain't nothing changing, we have to point to the $15 billion to replace lead water lines across America, the first new major gun safety legislation in 30 years, a new cap on prescription drugs prices, banning chokeholds and no-knock warrants, and turning back the tide of mass incarceration with federal marijuana reform and the elimination of the use of federal private prisons. And so he told a bunch of lies up in there. Again, he bent the truth. Let's start with the first thing he said in that particular paragraph. And he said, $15 billion to replace lead water lines across America. Well, ain't they still low-key kind of drinking dirty water? Or they're not drinking it, but they're getting dirty water in Jackson, Mississippi. And for what I understand, the water ain't all that fresh in Flint still after all these years. And it's not just those two places. There's a lot of places in America where predominantly black people live, and we are still benefiting from funky water. But $15 billion, man, get the heck out of here. All right, so what else did he say? He says the first major gun safety legislation in nearly 30 years. All right, but how does that really benefit black people? We know that those gun laws weren't made to benefit black men. They were meant to go against black men, because we see all the false narratives going around that, oh, black men, they're the shooters in a lot of these neighborhoods, which is true to some degree. But the real issue, and one of the real issues, is that of these mass shooters, which is predominantly white, right? So that gun law is not going to benefit black men. It's actually meant to kind of hurt black men, if you ask me. All right, moving right along. Then he says, you know, they're going to ban the chokeholds and no-knock warrants and turn back the tides of mass incarceration or federal marijuana reform. All right, well, we know that those chokeholds and no-knock warrants really pertain to that of the federal level. President Joe Biden does not have jurisdiction over the states. He only can say what goes on federally, so the states can do whatever they want. And so most black men that are choked out by the po-po, that's done on a state level. It's rarely done on a federal level. And so again, Mr. C. Wright, you are not telling the truth, but you're talking about Republicans are using black men. No, that's you that's doing that. And let's talk about this marijuana reform. That let out about 6,500 people, or not let them out, but it changed the sentencing, if you will, for 6,500 people from 1992 until 2022. So you tell me, how does that really help black men? It doesn't really help them. And again, that's on the federal level. That ain't on the state level. Joe Biden ain't got nothing to do with the state level. And then he also says that the private prisons on the federal level, they're not going to renew any more contracts. All right, well, you still don't have jurisdiction. And I'm talking about Joe Biden over the states. The states can write whatever contract they want with whoever they want. So again, Mr. C. Wright, a black man, is lying to black men and saying that the Republicans are trying to use it. But here is this Negro lying and bending the truth to black men. And so who is really trying to use black men here? It's the Democrats that are doing that. So I wanted y'all to really hear the foolishness of the Democrats, and now they love black men. Well, we know they don't really love black men, because if they love black men, they would write policies that actually help black men. And then you talk about this marijuana bill. All right, the marijuana bill is cool and, you know, not affecting people on a federal level. But how about those crack bills, Biden? Because that's where the damage was really done. And there's still people in prison behind those crack bills that you were so proud of writing. So I don't know. Y'all tell me what you think. Is it the Democrats that's using black men, or is it the Republicans? I think I put the case out pretty plain of who it actually is. So for more insightful commentary, y'all, please subscribe to my channel, The Demetra Kaye Show, and this channel. Peace.
Hey family, make sure you join us on the new and improved AfricanDiasporaNews.org. Now, it is our uncensored and raw truth website. We have to make sure to have our own website, because on social media platforms, they do have rules, and at any time they could change a rule and shut a whole genre down. Now, that would not happen to us, because on AfricanDiasporaNews.org, we can speak the truth. We don't have to hold back. So make sure you join our website today.